What up, everybody? Sam Garcia, architect from McAllen here. Somebody that probably needs to get a beard trimming here sometime soon. Um, anyway, coming to you today with another video. Thing I'm going to discuss today that continues our conversations about starting a small business and some tips for growth of a small business. Something that's a little bit that I don't want to be too cynical about, but I think is pretty important and something that has certainly benefited my career and my business. And it is community service as a way to grow your professional network. So what am I getting at here? That the point that I want to make is that regardless of how good you are at whatever your profession is, be it an architect, engineer, accountant, attorney, somebody who does car washes, it doesn't matter what you're selling or what your product is or what your business is. It doesn't matter how good you are technically at doing whatever it is you do if you don't get any customers, right? And you can't have customers unless people know you, right? That's just sort of common sense. So whereas a lot of people, a lot of professionals, especially early in their careers, you're coming out of school, you're focusing on getting accreditation, getting your experience up, getting the raw skills and experience needed to sort of perform your tasks and do your job professionally. There's a big emphasis on gaining experience and gaining professional accolades and becoming a better professional in whatever it is you're doing, architect in my case. That's important, and that's a mandatory step. You have to know what you're doing. But when you decide to go into business for yourself, the shift of importance as far as your technical skills, while it's still there, it takes on equal importance to the ability to earn business. You got to make it rain. You have to get customers in the door. And one of the ways that I have found to be very effective is the community service, specifically working with and for and volunteering for nonprofit organizations. One of the things that does more than anything is that it's going to put you into contact with a wide array of people. Okay, people that are not associated with your particular profession. Because to be honest, even though there are professional organizations that are sort of dedicated to whatever industry you're in, by and large, I would say that those organizations are not very helpful in helping you to get customers or to get clients. So the more time that you spend with your own peers in your own particular profession, they're not going to give you customers. They really aren't. So that's actually your competition. So I don't want to be too cynical about that or to downplay that too much, but that's just the truth. So community service, on the other hand, is a way, especially at more of the white-collar professional level, but not necessarily limited to that, where you're going to end up meeting and working with people who are across a wide sector of industries. And over time, as you become more involved and you become a known quantity in those environments, you will develop a stronger and deeper network of potential referrals, potential clients, and potential customers. Now, one of the things about that that's super important that I'll just say from the rip is getting involved in community service and using it as a way to professionally develop yourself is somewhat of a delicate endeavor. You don't ever want to go into those situations and be the person that is pitching, trying to sell your services, trying to sell what it is you're doing, trying to quote unquote gain business that way. You never really want to be the person that is, flipping out business cards at these events. That's a surefire way to paint yourself as somebody who is overly self-interested and somebody who is not trustworthy. So don't do that. That's tip number one. What you really want to do is want to find an authentic way to build those connections. And that starts with service and giving back and volunteering your time and your energy towards whatever activities or nonprofit entity that you are drawn to. So another thing to do is try to find nonprofit organizations or entities or causes that you personally believe in, have some sort of connection to, and just go into it with a heart for service. I'm here to be of service. I'm here to do whatever I can. I'm here to, pick up chairs, sweep floors, drive things around, pick up the Cokes that are and the sodas and the sandwiches that are going to be used for the meeting. I'm going to do whatever it takes just to be of service. And you have to think of it as a long-term investment. It's something that's not going to happen in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. It's going to happen over a long period of time, especially if you start doing this at a relatively early age, say in your 20s, after you kind of get out of school and all that type of stuff. One of the things one of the reasons is that it's a long-term sort of investment is oftentimes when you get into these organizations, there are going to be other people who are more or less in your age group, people who are sort of starting out their career, starting early, and it's going to take some time for those people to rise in their respective fields and in their respective careers to get to the point that they are the key decision makers who are going to be hiring the architects, engineers, whatever the case might be. So, with that said, where I started, for example, when I moved back to McAllen after some years away, I started with a local sort of community interest organization that had it was at the time it was called Futuro McAllen, which it's now become Futuro RGV. But at the time it was called Futuro McAllen. It's a nonprofit organization that at the time was interested in like quality of life issues, passing certain ordinances, making sure that it was holding City Hall accountable, things like that. It was just a group of concerned citizens who were kind of involved with the city and wanting to see the city become a better place. I was young. I was in my 20s. Most of the people in the organization were quite a bit older than me, and I started just by volunteering. I didn't offer any ideas. I didn't come with an agenda. I was just there to meet people and to become part of the community. Little by slowly, that opened up other opportunities, which allowed me to get involved in other organizations. Excuse me, and then that. Again, continued to open doors and continued to get me involved in other organizations. Eventually, what ended up happening was once you become sort of known as somebody who likes to participate in these sort of things, I was asked at different times, or I asked, I jockeyed for position to get involved at the board level of different organizations. And once you do that, you again are working with and rubbing shoulders with other people who are themselves working their ways up in their career. Oftentimes, these organizations, nonprofit boards and whatnot, are going to have people from the legal community, people from the banking community, people from the medical community, people from other professions, accountants, people in the financial services community, things of that nature. And as an architect, it is important to be known and to know people in those circles, especially people in the real estate community. Forgot to mention that one. And as you get to know these people, as you become friends and become friendly with them, over time you will develop a reputation and people will know you. And someday down the road, what will end up happening is that you will become a source for referrals. People will say, I do know an architect, or I do know an engineer, or I do know an accountant, and I've known him for years. He or she's a good person. Why don't you give so and so a call? And that's one way that you can build connections, and that's one way that you can grow your own professional network to eventually depend on that network to bring you business. Now, this topic, again, is a little bit sensitive. In the sense of, don't go into it very don't go into it thinking of it as a immediate sales pitch or what can I get out of it. Just go into it in terms of what can I give, what can I invest in my own community, with the hope, not the expectation, but the hope that someday, as you put it out, it'll come back to you. I hope that by touching this subject, I myself am not being too, that I'm not speaking out of turn, and I don't, like I said, I don't mean it in a cynical or a super self-interested type of way, but I think there is an understanding that when you volunteer, be it for nonprofits or even political or for different causes like that, and when you put yourself out in the community, there is some sort of expectation that you're doing it for the greater good, but also so that you reap some benefits out of that as well. So anybody that is out there that is thinking about starting a business, or you have started your business, I would encourage you to be prepared to dedicate a good portion of your time and your effort towards helping your community without any direct expectation for immediate returns on that. But that investment that you make will eventually come back and will serve you in the long run. So we'll talk to you guys later.